Have you ever looked at something and thought, man, this thing is ugly? This thing though, not ugly one bit. But staring at this white Mario plush on my shelf has got me wondering, what are the absolute ugliest and most terrifying Super Mario plushies ever made? Let's use this Bootleg Mario as an example. We can obviously tell that this is not the traditional Super Mario we're used to seeing in modern times, so whatever looks off will really mess with our brains. To start, this guy's face shape is pretty bad. It's kind of reminiscent of like, that Star Wars character. I think his name's like Nien Yum or something like that. It just doesn't feel right to look at. On top of this, his mustache is way too much of a thick line that has curves extremely pointing up, almost looking like an upside down septum piercing. I wonder who decided to go with that fashion statement. And of course, the feature that probably throws off this plush the most is his eyes. I think the main reason for this is because you never really see Mario's eyelids at all. Like, I'm serious, if you try to find a picture of Mario's eyelids like halfway open, halfway closed, you can't find it. It's impossible. One thing to note about this plush is that the colors of his overalls and shirt are opposite of what we're used to seeing today, proving that this plush is probably a bootleg from Mario's early years in becoming Nintendo's mascot. And this is really good evidence for what I'm about to say. You should subscribe. I'm kidding. The lineup of ugly Mario plushies I'm going to show you are from a different era of Nintendo, and therefore they're going to look very, very odd. Starting with the 1998 Michael Mulek Wing Cap Mario plush, or Michael Mulek. It's a German company. From what I can tell using my context clues on the internet, there doesn't seem to be much known about this little guy besides what's written on the tag. Michael Mulek, Germany. To me, this plush looks kind of like an elephant. No, not this elephant either. I'm pretty sure the main reason for this being is that his wings look like ears, and this guy's nose is like way too big for him. Around this time, Super Mario 64 had already been out, so it wouldn't seem to be too hard to get Mario's likeness across in a plush. But it seems like this one in particular wasn't part of any major production line, and so all the ones you see on the internet, they all kind of look different. Where some of them seem to be a little bit more on the thicker side, and you kind of can't stop staring at it. His proportions are pretty silly overall. His face is definitely thrown off by how big his nose is, with his eyes kind of giving a weird expression. And a combination of all these things kind of makes for like a highly sought after plush with a price tag of what I've seen on the internet to be $180. I don't know if this is real, but that's a bit absurd. I suppose you can say the amount of a plush is higher if it's just uglier. Between the years of 1998 and 1989, there were actually quite a few high quality Mario plushies in this era. So trying to track as to why this German company just messed my boy up so badly, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. 1996 had this really well put together Super Mario World plushie where all his proportions and even the spacing on his face fits really nice. And the same goes for the little 1992 Band Presto lineup of Mario characters, where they all look, very cute and pretty accurate as well. So if we go back roughly 10 years from 1998, 1989 to be exact, we're brought to the toddler days of Super Mario and a very questionable plush doll thing. Introducing the middle-aged man plush your child always wanted growing up. This is the 1989 Applause Mario doll. This little guy was created as a sort of promotional item for Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES. Now, I personally do not care to look at this plush at all. Like I said before, it looks like a middle-aged man shrunk down into a little doll, which honestly, you can kind of see a relation between this guy and the Super Mario Bros. Super Show cartoon. In my opinion, he just looks a little bit too realistic. Is this really a plush or is this a doll? His head is actually molded out of a harder plastic, whilst the rest of his body is more represented as a normal plush. As well as that, his hat is a separate accessory you can just pop right off of his head. This poor guy's body is just not fit to be doing all that jumping that Mario's known for. I think one big issue with a lot of Mario plushies is the fact that his hat can be removed. If you search this guy up on eBay, you'll find a lot of listings where his hat is missing, and it honestly knocks down like a lot of the price. So it's kind of funny. If I was able to find this plush or doll out in the wild for a really cheap price, that would probably be the only way I'd be willing to buy this guy, because there is absolutely no way I'm going to be spending over $100 on a plush. Okay, maybe a plush that looks like a middle-aged man. Don't worry, things only get uglier from here on out. The 1988 Acme Super Mario plush is one that can haunt you in your sleep. Released for the NES's Super Mario Bros., at a first glance, this plush kinda looks like he'd be a bootleg. But it's not, because there's actually a Luigi version of this plush. Or I guess player 2, if you want to call him that. And actually, each plush did get a few different sizes. Of course, with an inverted color pattern, this throws off Mario's look quite a bit, but I think on top of that, the amount of fluff that this guy has seems to be pretty inconsistent. This could be a sign due to the aging of the plush, but it honestly just looks really funny, especially if you focus in on the mustache. The spacing of the plastic eyes as well seem to be very different on every small plush, but when we look at the big plush, it's a totally different story. This thing is literally nightmare fuel. I don't think I need to talk much about this guy because everything kind of looks off about him. His eyes, his eyebrows, his mustache, his where my hug at pose. Once again, probably another plush that I wouldn't go out of my way to go hunt for. But there is one ugly plush that I probably would be willing to go out on the hunt for. And that is the original Super Mario plush. I guess technically it's not even Super Mario, but it's Jumpman. As this was/is probably a prototype for what could have been the first ever Mario plushie ever made. There's only a few pictures online of this guy, so that kind of tells you just how rare it actually is. It's crazy to think that if you were a big fan of Super Mario, like mainly in the late 80s, this is what the kids were going crazy for at the time. Nowadays, Mario does have a pretty iconic look to him, so it's kind of hard to mess it up, unless, of course, he shows up. Anyways, guys, thank you all so very much for watching. I've been really wanting to do more videos in this style where I'm just basically talking to the camera because I have a fun time writing them. I feel like my personality comes across a little bit more. And honestly, I'm trying to see how quickly I can put them out. And thank you once again to the supporter of my channel, Xavier. I very much appreciate you, brother. I'm always thankful for anyone that's willing to support me and whatever I decide to put out and create into the world. So thank you, bro. I very much appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!